Congressman Waltz is joining us for his Friday visit today on WNDB. And Congressman, you were named to the House China Task Force yesterday. What does that mean for us in this continuing debate over China's involvement in COVID-19?
Hey, thanks, Mark. Well, I think what it means is we are going to, number one, continue to drive towards answers and the root cause of all of this and exactly China's role and how this virus came about. But number two, and I think this is incredibly important long-term, we are going to work. These are representatives across all of the committees, everything from health to education to armed services, to decouple the United States in terms of our supply chain and our dependency on China. Number one. Number two, to stop the flow of our technology from the United States to Beijing, to stop the billions of dollars of our capital between our debt, our pension plans, and others. And then I think to prepare America for the situation we're in, which is that the Chinese Communist Party, like the Soviet Communist Party, is not our friend and seeks to challenge us in terms of global leadership.
Is any part of this investigatory, an investigation, or is this largely this sort of size up where we are?
Well, I think there are other entities that are actually doing the investigation. For us, it's pulling together a number of initiatives and really focusing them on dealing with China for what it is, which is essentially in a Cold War against the United States. And this is from our universities to our cyber systems to our military. And it really is across the board. I just published an op-ed on how they've infiltrated our university systems deliberately with professors, by recruiting American professors, Chinese researchers, and over 400,000 students per year. So it's really pulling together all of these initiatives across all of our society and getting some legislation passed that protects the United States and enables us to continue to lead around the world.
Congressman, I heard you on with Brian Kilmeade yesterday. It was a great interview, and there was a point that was made there that I looked at my radio and I went, absolutely. Congress people are being like yourselves. You're trying to get the work done, but Nancy Pelosi has this thing at a crawl. There are some members who don't want to come in because they're afraid of coronavirus. But I'm thinking all those people that work in supermarkets and frontline people,
yep,
they don't get that kind of option. What about Congress people? I mean, I realize, and you were very tactful about it, but this is a serious conflict.
Well, look, if they can be deemed essential workers, I think the United States Congress is pretty darn essential in terms of getting things done to help the people that we represent. Look, this is what this is really about, Mark. This is about Nancy Pelosi crafting another couple of $1 trillion in left-wing legislation behind closed doors. She doesn't want us there. What she's going to do is spring this out on the floor like she has done in the past on the floor of the representatives and say vote yes or no. That's not how this should work. We should be part of the process. That's how Congress works. And I've talked to a lot of Democrats who are very frustrated as well. But that's what's going on. Yeah, there may be some concerns of some older members, and we should, they need to make their individual decisions, but Congress needs to get to work.
Let me pivot to Dr. Fauci. There's an increasing number of Americans who are concerned that he may be leading the president down the wrong track in terms of battling this COVID-19. He's big on the experiments and he's big on laboratories. How do you feel about that?
I haven't seen, to be honest with you, Mark, I haven't seen any kind of direct evidence that there's anything malicious going on coming out of Dr. Fauci's organization or him personally. I do think when we look back on all this, we'll take a hard look at the modeling and what assumptions go into that modeling. I mean, when you're the president of the United States and you're told we could lose 2 million Americans, and then that's revised even after you put these lockdowns in place to say 200,000, that's going to influence your thinking, seriously going to influence your thinking. And the president's getting beat up for not quote unquote listening to the experts. He absolutely has. But not to take this back to China, but here's the problem. We were heading into all of this completely blind because the Chinese would not allow, our CDC experts would not allow even WHO, World Health Organization experts, to see patient zero, to get to ground zero, to really understand how this was transmitted, who it was being affected, or even understand the basic genetic code so that we can accelerate work on antivirals and vaccines. And they need to be held accountable for that. So when we're heading into our policies, we could have been a month or two ahead and really focused our policies on the elderly or other vulnerable populations rather than these mass lockdowns had we had that information from the Chinese. Any other responsible government would have allowed the world and given them as much data as possible as early as possible. And they still haven't done it to this day. And I think that has really greatly affected our response, where we had to take, a sledgehammer to a nail.
And Congressman, we've been hearing from some veterans who are very frustrated because they're not getting the help. It's even worse than it was before. And some are in your district. Have you been getting calls? Is the information getting to you about how these veterans are getting put off from getting care from the VA?
I'll check with General Audino, my district director, and my team. I haven't received information we have veterans calling in, and we are certainly helping them, and we're helping them navigate the VA, but I have not seen a spike per se or an overwhelming percentage of veterans calling in. What I am going to check into as well, Mark, is that I think it makes sense to open up regionally, where in areas where the virus hasn't hit as hard. We shouldn't take a one-size-fits-all shutdown approach with VA facilities. In areas that are opening up, the VA should open up as well, and that's the question we have over to Veterans Affairs. I did receive some questions along those lines yesterday, and that makes sense to me.
All right. Congressman Mike Waltz joining us live on this Friday. Congressman, continue to be safe. Thanks for fighting the good fight and joining us live today on WNDB.
Hey, thanks, Mark. And I'm in D.C. fighting that fight and ready to get back to work at Plosio Lettuce.
Yeah, you go get him. Thank you, Congressman. Have a great day.